Hello, me in a year. If you don't know, my name is Dustin Jenkins, and over the past 5 years, I've created a video talking to myself in the next year, as well as giving you guys an update as to exactly what I've done, how I've progressed, and what I've changed, not only on YouTube, but to scale really anything I do, whether it's my skill set or my business or anything else that I might be doing at the moment. So I've released 5 different videos. Now this will be the next. Hello Me in a Year 2025. Going over what the next plans are, as well as what's changed over the past year about myself, YouTube channel, income, and business. And then I'll tell you about some lessons to learn from my mistakes, how you can continue to grow and prosper in literally whatever you do, as well as just creating this as a video journal to look back on in the next year, so that way I can have remembrance and, it's probably a little bit of nostalgia on how much I've accomplished and how far I've came. So that way you can see exactly what I've done and how I've progressed, showing you literally everything. Look, Hello Me in a Year 2020, Hello Me in a Year 2021, 2022, and is it going to load? All right, 2023.
All right, guys.
Following that,
Today's the
Hello.
year.
oh,
I'm back.
2024. There we go, 2024. That was the most recent one. You can
And
start controlling
now-
your influences. I'm going to, create this one. So, first, I just wanted to look at where was I actually at as of last year on YouTube. So just going overall on YouTube, talking about where I'm at. Well, I haven't changed much in subscribers. I think actually at this time I mentioned that I was going through a brand reshaping. So I was going and changing up how I was doing things, and I have a lot. And I'm going to continue to do so. So, for example, right here, I'm at my mission. My mission is to make sure you live to your fullest potential and create the life of your dreams, which it's still the case, except in a little bit more specific way. I just realized I didn't have my microphone, so I'm connecting that. So yeah, I was reshaping my brand, and now I've done a similar thing. At that time, I only had 52 videos released because actually I had privated a lot of the ones I had done before, because I've gone through many different rebrandings. At this point, I had, I don't know how many videos, I had a lot. Probably had thousands of shorts, hundreds of long form videos. However, I had privated some of them so I could go through that brand reshaping, and it works pretty well. So with that being said, as of recently, what I've been up to is helping beginner entrepreneurs, just in general, grow and improve, and I'm going to continue doing a similar thing as over these past many years, and I actually was uploading on YouTube even before that first one in 2020. I was into YouTube entrepreneurship and these sorts of things, and over that time I've made tens of thousands of dollars in profit, straight to my account. And on top of that, I've closed hundreds of thousands of dollars in deals for my business, and I've failed many different businesses, drop shipping agency. Failed isn't the right word, more like quit them halfway through. And with that being said, I've now come to realize more about how to do this and how to go about it, and I've learned a lot. So then going to the next thing. So when it comes to what's changed about myself, well, I would say one huge change, and this is something for you to take as well, is I've done a lot of reflective work, and what I've realized is much more clarity on the vision. Because when you start off in entrepreneurship, when you start off posting on YouTube, when you start off in decision, especially with business, it doesn't really make logical sense to start a business. You've probably heard 93% of businesses fail after the first 5 years. Logically, it's kind of stupid if you think about it. So with that being said, understanding those emotional desires, playing to them and leveraging them in your work is going to be super valuable. And there's many different ways you're going to be able to do this, whether it's through ChatGPT or something else. Simply journaling can work well. Journaling can work fairly well. However, what I've been able to use to be able to effectively create a good reflective system, which I'll actually link in the description of this video, a reflective system that I've created to be able to have little to no resistance when I work, have have pretty much conquered my thoughts and being able to think what I want, when I want, directing that towards my work, allowing me to be able to make much more progress than I previously thought was possible. Not just in the sense of, yeah, okay, I made some money. I got like $20,000 saved up and more invested and that stuff, and more money coming in on a recurring basis. But more importantly, develop and make progress as a character. Your beliefs, your traits, your skills. That's what makes up your character. And being able to make progress in that is going to be very beneficial for you. And it really was for me. So now, if I go to my channel, I mean, the plans over the next few years, well, just to go to the analytics of the recent time, well, 5,000 views over the last 30 days, and my lifetime views is like 1.4 million. However, a lot of this was through content that I actually have privated, so it's not something that it's not a part of my brand that I want to be associated with, if it makes sense. Just because I want to be more focused on me and talking about my journey, lessons you guys can learn from this, and doing this in a way that's practical, not just like some short piece of short form content that can be easily replaced. So overall, over the past 90 days, I've had some pretty consistent growth. Well, nearly 13,000 views. And my plan is to grow this even further, 10, 20, 40, 50,000 subscribers. Honestly, I used to set a clear goal of, okay, this is exactly how many subscribers I'm going to hit. This year, my major focus is just to build a strong presence, sharing as much value in terms of like actually practically solving problems. Because a lot of these other guys out here, they're going to say, oh, let me just provide more value to these people. You don't even know what that is. You'll probably see hundreds of other, say, talking head YouTubers who don't really know how to speak. They don't know how to resonate with their audience. And they can't really provide practical solutions because they haven't done it before. But I've been scammed in business. I have missed out on many different opportunities. I've been on very low lows to the point where I was, going in the negatives. I've been on high highs working with influencers like this one guy named Elliot Hulse. If you search him up, he has millions of followers. And I've networked with other guys. I actually plan on going out to Bali this summer. Not as like, oh, I'm an influencer at Bali now, just because a couple of my friends that I know have met in this online entrepreneur sphere, and a few of my clients from the past. You can even watch some of my videos when I was first getting into this entrepreneurship thing. If you go back some on my content, it's like a year and a half ago, I was talking about creating products for my clients and those sorts of things. Well, I've of course developed and adapted, but you can check out these videos. I can go to some of them right now. So these videos from 2023, for example, if you go to here where I was talking about how I reset my brain for success in 30 days, and I even created like step-by-step journey, of the different weeks that I had within this journey to be able to kind of reset my brain. Now, it wasn't completely all sunshine and rainbows from there. I've still grown and developed and changed and went through so many different experiences since that time, but a lot of it was the start. Like, back from these places, I was learning different things about media, business, and you can even hear me talk about different things that I was setting out to do in entrepreneurship and on YouTube. And the reason I say this is because I have everything here, and that means you don't have to wait to start something if you plan on starting because you feel like you're not qualified enough. I was just starting and talking about what I learned. And then I even made a video how I will become so successful no one will believe me a year and a half ago. And guess what? I could tell you in the deal value of the deals I closed for my business, at least one partnership that I have, it was like 38,000 or 42,000 or something. I collected it wasn't too much up front, 30-40% up front, maybe 20% or something like that up front, and then the rest was on like a recurring payment plan last month, so in December of 2024. And now I have a set goal to be able to hit $100,000 a month in profit by the end of this year and collect $2 million for my business. However, what's much, much more important, and each one of you have to understand, you know what you specifically need to understand? Like, you watching the video right now need to understand, you need to prioritize developing your character. Well, what is your character? It's the belief, traits, and skills that you possess that determine your everyday behavior. Well, to get it a little bit deeper, your belief is something you hold as the truth about the world, about yourself, about everything, how you interact with everything. Next thing is traits. Now, this was a little bit iffy for me. I was trying to distinguish, okay, what's traits and what's skills? And I was kind of looking into it a lot. And a trait is more of a, it's a more vague, internal thing that's been conditioned into you over a longer period of time. Because a skill, a lot of the time, is like a set of actions, a clear set of actions to get a clear outcome. That, to the degree the outcome is, or how fast you can get this outcome, or to the consistency this outcome happens, means that you're better at that skill. However, a trait, for example, or in other words, a characteristic of yourself, might be able to be something like integrity. Now, you could try to quantify it down to a skill, which is possible, but a lot of the time, integral behavior comes from changing the way you view things, so that way you can change your reality. And now I know that sounds kind of vague, and it is at first until you're able to actually make that connection. So a lot of the time what you have to understand is it's not about anything, any of this advice, this information that I'm telling you, or any of these other content creators. Simply what it is and what your lack of progress comes down to is you not being able to implement the information that you're given. As the truth is, the magic you were looking for is in the work you were avoiding. You've bought courses, you've bought books, you've watched podcasts. And dude, honestly, I still do the same thing. However, what I understand is that the only way you're going to be able to effectively implement any of this information is through you being able to make the connection in your real life. You need to go out there, experience things, do the work, and actually get stuff done, the things that you know you're putting off. So that way you're going to be able to, I mean, I can talk from my personal experience, you can actually have that connection. Like, have you ever been in a moment and had like this epiphany? You're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Maybe you were talking to somebody else. It was a friend of yours. Maybe you were reading a book and then you ended up going to implement some of that advice. And you're like, oh wait, I can see how that connects now. Maybe you were trying to talk somebody into, signing in as a client of yours for your coaching program or something. Well, each one of these times, a fundamental thing that is not going to be different is the fact that you went out there, experienced something, and that experience then changed how you perceived reality, which then changed your behavior, which means you had learned. And that's one big thing I want to share with you is that you can learn from my mistakes, but more importantly, you need to learn from all of yours so you don't repeat them. And you're going to still eventually, even if you learn some things from my mistakes, you're going to end up implementing this stuff and realizing, oh my God, he was right. So what you have to understand that learning fundamentally is just acting with a different behavior when given the same condition. So if you can be in an experience that you were in before, which means you're conditioned by that experience, so that condition is just a way it shapes you. Well, if your behavior is different, that means you've learned. Now let's actually look at you over the past year. And I'm going to tell you about me over the past year. There's been a lot of the times that I acted with the same behavior, expecting to get a different result. And I was conditioned within the same thing. But where it doesn't lie is it doesn't lie in the behavior. It's not like, oh, drinking alcohol is so bad for you. Doom scrolling on social media is so bad for you. We know all that information already. It's at a deeper level. You have to look internally and learn more internal stuff rather than external, because fundamentally externalities are one of the biggest killers to honestly business success, simply because of the fact that they stop you from being consistent. Because either you change paths because you hear about this new content strategy that's fantastic that everybody's doing, or you want to start an AI scaling agency. Instead, what you have to do is take a step back, look at yourself, and do some internal work and really look at, okay, why am I eliciting certain behaviors in my life? And a behavior is simply like a thought, word, decision, action. And why am I doing this? It's not just the thing itself, but it's like, what energy am I compensating for that I don't want to have? Like, what negative energy or just what energy is going through my body that I'm trying to overcompensate for through this negative action, bad habit, or whatever you want to call it. And those are going to be some of the biggest things that I've learned that you should really think about and take in over, just the next couple of days as you do things and as you do other idle tasks. Maybe you're writing something, messaging somebody, writing a script for something in your business, or, just doing some chores or yard work. Really start thinking about these things and take a second to ask yourself, how can I develop the character of somebody who can achieve the goals I have? And then all you have to do is constantly focus on that. Just in the present moment. Don't worry about what you did in the past. Don't worry about the future outcome, like for me, hitting 100K a month profit. That's cool and all. But what I need to do is be completely input focused, and the input is the input from my character. And by the way, I'm not just saying this all to say it. I actually did this myself. So what I mean by this is if I pull up my slideshow that I created, it's an alchemy of self, initially designed around a concept that Sam Ovens, the creator of School.com, created. However, there's been many different variations. I created a variation of my own. And then what I did was I synthesized a lot of things from we could say my past story or experience, as well as going into my longer term vision and future, which I believe you should do the same. It doesn't have to be copying this model by any means. All it has to be is simply just figuring out what is this new identity you're going to adopt. And for me, there's a few key things that I've realized. Now, these aren't going to be the same for you. I don't want you to copy what I'm doing, think the exact same way, use the exact same strategies. I just want you to be able to understand how to effectively manage yourself. Look at where are you at? What areas are you lacking in? And then from there, you're going to be able to actually improve. Instead of just taking some advice and trying to implement it. Because the reason it doesn't work and it works for somebody else is because you're not the same as them. And you can't be. They think differently than you. They've had a different upbringing. They have different traumatic experiences. Everything is different. So take that information, analyze it, figure out what works for you. Not just like, oh, this kind of works, but I'm actually just being kind of lazy, so I'm not going to do a part of it. No, actually do the things, right? And then figure out, okay, now based off of this, based off of what I've tried so far, what actually works for me? Like what works really well for me? And that's going to come from internal reflection, because you're not going to be able to have the intuitive feeling. And trust me, intuition's all just based off your conditioning. So you need to recondition your mind. You need to reprogram it to be able to, instead of just cutting something off, getting mad, having an emotional, sensitive reaction, you need to recondition it to then understand and become aware of your emotional responses to things. And by being able to do this and then identifying the character you need to become, all you have to do is simply say, I'm going to adopt this identity, because then you can. As soon as you just say you are, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past, it doesn't matter if you have a Bugatti or a fancy watch or whatever, all you have to do is say you're going to do it, and understand that you're doing this for not, because it's so bad what you were doing before and I just can't do it ever again because of whatever. No, it's because you know that the character you're building is going to be able to lead to your success in the future. And then when you can define these things, understand your motivations, and really understand yourself, that's when you can win.